Today, we're going to look at all the best PSN deals that exist on PlayStation platform right now. And I am going to start this list from the lowest to the highest discount on all kinds of games. I am going to start with Persona 4 Golden, 50% off for $10. This might not be the biggest discount here, but the value is insane. You're getting a full-on JRPG with an incredible story, unforgettable characters, and easily 80 plus hours of gameplay. I think this is one of the best deals on PlayStation right now. Next is Carnival Games, 50% off for $20. This one's more of a party style game with a bunch of mini games you can play with friends or family. It's simple, casual fun, and if you're looking for something light to play together, this could be a decent pick. Then we've got Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 Royal Edition, 50% off for $45. This is a huge, super realistic RPG that goes all in on immersion, like you do everything yourself here. Even using sword doesn't come naturally. The Royal Edition comes packed with extra content, and if you're into slow, detailed, story-driven experiences, this is a massive game to dive into. Then we got Rise of the Ronin, 58% off for about $30. This is an open-world samurai action RPG with a heavy focus on combat and player choice. It's got that mix of exploration and intense sword fighting, and at this price, it's a pretty solid pickup if you're into that setting. Next, Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, 58% off for $30. This is one of the best looking games on PlayStation, period. The fast-paced combat, crazy weapons, and instant dimension switching make it feel like you're playing a Pixar movie. But yeah, definitely worth it if you haven't tried it yet. Marvel's Spider-Man 2, 58% off for $30. This is easily one of the biggest PlayStation exclusives, and swinging around the city has never felt better. With both Peter and Miles, really improved combat, and a bigger world, this is a must-play if you're into superhero games. Then we got Call of Duty Vanguard, 60% off for $24. You know what you're getting here: fast-paced multiplayer and a cinematic campaign. Not the newest COD, but still a solid option if you just want to jump in and start shooting. Then we've got Modern Warfare 2 Cross-Gen Bundle, 60% off for $28. This one's a much bigger deal with a strong campaign, multiplayer, and co-op modes if you are looking for something a bit more modern. If you're picking between the two, this is probably the better overall package. Next we got Resident Evil 4, 60% off for $16. This remake is insanely good. It keeps everything that made the original iconic, but modernizes it perfectly. The combat, atmosphere, and pacing are all top tier. At this price, it's an absolute must play. Then we have a Plague Tale bundle, 65% off for $28. This includes both games, The Innocents and The Requiem, and together they tell one of the most emotional stories in gaming. It's more story focused with stealth gameplay, but the atmosphere and characters really carry the experience. Getting both games in one bundle is a huge win. Then we have Prison Alone, 65% off for $350. I haven't played this one personally, but it's a short horror experience set inside a prison, and it leans heavily into atmosphere and tension. It's not a huge game, but for this price, if you're into creepy, low-key horror, it's a pretty solid little pickup. Next, Crysis Remastered, 70% off for $9. The classic Can It Run Crysis game, but now updated for modern systems. You've got open-ended combat, stealth options, and that iconic nanosuit gameplay that still holds up really well today. The Persona Collection, 70% off for $27. This is honestly a massive bundle with multiple full-length RPGs. Each game can take you 80 to 100 hours, so you're basically getting hundreds of hours of content in one purchase. Then there's Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3, 70% off for $750. This is one of the most chaotic and fun fighting games out there. You've got insane combos, crazy team-ups, and a roster full of iconic characters. And guys, it's still super fun even today. Then we have Black Skylands, 75% off for $5. This is a really unique mix of top-down shooter, exploration, and airship combat. You're flying around islands in the sky, and upgrading your ship feels fresh. And for this price, it's definitely worth trying something different. Monster Jam Showdown, 75% off for $10. If you're into big trucks and arcade-style racing, this is exactly that. It's more about fun and action than realism, which makes it easy to jump into and enjoy. Then there's Combate Monero, 75% off for $10. This one's a bit more niche, with a focus on fighting mechanics and competitive gameplay. If you're into trying something different outside the mainstream fighters, this could be interesting. Next is My Friend Pedro, 75% off for $5. This game is all about style, like slow motion, flips, and chaining together insane kills. Once it clicks, you feel like you're directing your own action movie. It's super fun. I have given this game a lot of hours. Next is Dead Rising 2, 75% off for $5. Classic zombie mayhem with ridiculous weapon crafting. It's goofy, action-packed, and just straight up fun if you want to mess around and wipe out hordes of zombies. You already know what to expect, so yeah. And then there's Tchia, 75% off for $7.50. A super relaxing open world game where you can literally possess animals and objects. It's colorful, creative, and a really nice change of pace from all the action-heavy games on this list. Atomfall Deluxe Edition, 75% off for $20. This one's more of a slower, story-driven survival experience with a creepy vibe. The Deluxe Edition adds extra content, and if you're into exploring weird, mysterious worlds, this is a solid grab. Next is Doom Eternal, 75% off for $10. This is easily one of the best FPS games in recent years. It's super fast combat, constant movement, and that insane rip and tear energy from start to finish. For $10, this is a no-brainer. Now we're hitting 80% off with LEGO Star Wars Skywalker Saga Deluxe Edition for $14. This game covers all 9 Star Wars movies with tons of characters, humor, and content. The Deluxe Edition adds even more, so it's a huge package. Then there's Dishonored Death of the Outsider, 80% off for $6. This is a standalone expansion with the same incredible stealth gameplay. You can approach missions however you want, silent, aggressive, or something in between, and it's super satisfying either way. The Evil Within 2, 80% off for $8. A really underrated survival horror game with a mix of open areas and tight, scary sections. It's got great atmosphere and some genuinely creepy moments. Next is Psychonauts 2, 80% off for $12. This is one of the most creative platformers out there. Every level is completely different, diving into characters' minds with unique art styles and mechanics. Super fun and super unique. Next is another Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite Deluxe Edition, 80% off for $12. Fast-paced tag team fighting with iconic characters. It may not be everyone's favorite in the series, but at this price, it's still a solid pickup for fighting game fans. And then we got the Survivalists, 80% off for just over $5. This is a fun little survival sandbox where you can craft, explore islands, and even train monkeys to help you out. Yeah, monkeys. Then we have Watch Dogs 2, 85% off for $7.50. This is easily the best Watch Dogs game. You've got a vibrant open world, tons of hacking options, and a more fun, less serious tone. Messing with NPCs and systems never gets old. Then we have Saints Row the 3rd Remastered, 85% off for $4.50. This is peak Saints Row. This is just pure over-the-top action and mayhem. With crazy missions, ridiculous weapons, and a fully remastered look, make this an absolute steal. Next is Wolfenstein II, The New Colossus, 85% off for $6. A story-driven shooter with intense combat and a surprisingly strong narrative. It's brutal, fast, and super satisfying if you just want a solid single-player FPS. Then we have Shadow of the Tomb Raider Definitive Edition, 85% off for $6. This wraps up the modern Lara Croft trilogy. You get all the DLC, extra tombs, and a beautiful world to explore. For this price, it's honestly a no-brainer. Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy, 85% off for $9. This one surprised a lot of people. It's got a great story, amazing character interactions, and a soundtrack that just hits. If you like story-driven games and Marvel characters, this is a must-play. Or you can go for Hogwarts Legacy Digital Deluxe Edition, 85% off for $12. This is a massive open-world Harry Potter game where you actually get to live the wizard life. The Deluxe Edition adds extra content, and for this price, it's kind of insane value. Then we have Just Cause 4 Reloaded, 85% off for $6. If you want explosions, chaos, and insane stunts, this delivers. You even got tornadoes, crazy gadgets, and total freedom. It's all about having fun. Another Saints Row, this time it's Saints Row 4 Reelected, 85% off for $3. This is basically a superhero sandbox with ridiculous powers. At this price, it's honestly one of the cheapest and most fun games on the list. Now we hit 90% off, with Injustice 2 Legendary Edition for $6. You're getting the full fighting game experience with all DLC characters included. So it's got tons of content, great combat, and a solid story mode. And then Middle-earth Shadow of War Definitive Edition, 90% off for $6. This includes all expansions and the full Nemesis system experience, which is still one of the coolest mechanics ever made, as I keep saying that. For this price, it's a steal. Next is Dead Island 2 Ultimate Edition, 90% off for $7. One of the most fun zombie games in recent years, the Ultimate Edition packs in all the DLC, and the combat is just insanely satisfying. You're smashing, slicing, and experimenting with weapons never gets old. Next is Need for Speed Unbound Palace Edition, 90% off for $8. The art style alone makes this stand out, mixing realistic cars with animated effects, and the Palace Edition adds extra content on top. For this price, it's a steal. Then we have Gotham Knights Deluxe, 90% off for $9. This is where you get to play as multiple Bat family characters, each with their own abilities, exploring Gotham in co-op or solo. Not perfect, it never was, but at this price, it's definitely worth trying. Then we have Mortal Shell Enhanced Edition, 90% off for $3. This is a Souls-like with a unique twist where you switch between different shells instead of classes. It's challenging, atmospheric, and insanely cheap right now. Another Just Cause we have is Just Cause 3XXL Edition, 80% off for $6. If you skipped it earlier, this is still one of the best sandbox chaos games out there. Wingsuit, grappling hook, explosions everywhere. The XXL Edition adds even more content on top. Then we got MindsEye Deluxe Edition, 70% off for $24. A more recent, story-focused experience with a cinematic feel. The Deluxe Edition adds extra content, and if you're into narrative-heavy games, this could be worth checking out. Then we got the Survivalists, 80% off for just over $5. A fun survival sandbox where you gather resources, build, and even train monkeys to help you out. It's weird, but actually pretty fun. And then we have Rugby 18, 83% off for $10. If you're into sports games and want something different from the usual FIFA or NBA, this is a decent pickup at a big discount.